Hello, iPhone.
Hello. Oh, what are you doing here, Antonio?
I mean, in order for me to understand, the more, the better, no?
Oh, I see. I didn't know you attended these like breakout room calls.
I do not usually, but again, for me, it helps me understanding context.
Right. That makes sense.
Are you Kev, by the way?
Yes, I think I'm the only one who's I change it. Yeah, my iPhone just usually says iPhone. Hmm.
I have the same issue, by the way, when I connect from my iPhone in Zoom.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. I don't really know how to change it on my phone. But yeah, this should be good. Mm, mm. Oh, hello, shall we?
Hello, hi Kev.
Hey, and Mikkel.
You are an iPhone.
Yeah, my phone doesn't have the name when I join by Zoom. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know how to change. Hmm.
So, hi Antonio, hi Michael. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Hi, shall we? Yeah.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining the call. Just posted the agenda and meeting notes in the chat. So let's start with the client updates. Anyone wants to share the progress in the past 2 weeks? Please.
Yep, I can start. So for the last 2 weeks, yes, we added a new PR where data columns are activated from the EIP 75944 epoch. Before data columns were activated at DNAB epoch. It's not anymore the case. Also about sampling, we did only verify that the root and the column index was corresponding to the expectation when sampling. We did not check at all the KZJ inclusion proof or KZJ sidecar proof, and now we test them. Also, yes, we added some unit tests for robustness. And currently we have some issues with on the PeerDAS testnet 1 where we cannot sync past a given point, and we are working on it. Yeah, basically it is updates from the last 2 weeks.
Thank you. And then Lighthouse.
Hey, hello everyone. I've mostly been out the last couple of days, but last week I spent most of the time working on sync. We fixed an issue with our RPC limit, and previously it was preventing us from serving data columns by range requests, and that's working. So I believe Lighthouse was serving the by range requests for a while until it broke. And then I've also got Lighthouse to sync to work on our branch, but we haven't deployed it yet. There are still some minor issues that we wanted to fix before we deploy it. It's very slow at the moment, so we're still looking to sync. But in terms of serving data, Lighthouse is able to serve data now. But with the latest DevNet 1, it's currently broken because the change with disabling the inbound rate limiter kind of review a bug in our sampling process. So one of our Lighthouse supernode actually ended up sending a large number of sampling requests to the other supernode, and eventually causing that one to be out of sync as well, without the rate limiter. So for one, from our team's been looking to that. I think that should be a pretty easy fix. But we're not sure if we still want to revive DevNet 1 or just relaunch it. Want to see what people's thoughts are.
The rate limiter was re-enabled, by the way. So I was hoping that we would see something else, but we just have too many forks at this point. I don't know if we can still recover from this stage.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but it'll probably require a bit of hack because we still have all that validators being active. It might be easy to just relaunch, but I think depending on what everyone's preference is, because I think some people are still debugging issues with sync, so maybe want to leave it on. I'm not sure, but yes, today I've been trying to use a tool, a manual HTTP sync tool that Michael from our team created. It's worked in the past, but I haven't been able to get it to work on Lighthouse in DevNet 1. I could try to run on other clients if we want to. So what it does is it basically downloads blocks from an up-to-date node and then push those blocks to another node, and which in turn will cause a big reorg. So then they'll eventually be on the same chain. It's kind of a hack. So that's why I was thinking it might be easy to relaunch. But yeah, we can try if you want to. but on the Lighthouse side, we're looking into fixing the sampling bug. Other than that, we have tested Kev's Rust KZG library, which is like a replacement or alternative to CKZG. It's worked pretty well, and I've done a bit of testing on it. The metrics so far seems pretty comparable to CKZG at a high level when the condition is great. So we're looking to merge that as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it from Lighthouse side. We will continue to focus on getting sync to work and to just try to stabilize our DAS branch. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you, Barnabas. Any other? Go ahead.
Yeah, Jimmy, you mentioned that the rate limiter bug could be very easily fixed. Would it be possible to get that fixed ASAP? Then we would relaunch with DevNet 2, let's say, because this is it's hard to recover from this point. And then because this rate limiter really limits capabilities of other people syncing to the DevNet because we don't have too many nodes. So other peers are able to serve the state, but it's just not fast enough.
I see. I was wondering if we could like kind of raise the rate limiting, like the rate limiter to like a very, very high limit, instead of just disabling it completely, just in case if we have a bug again, we might kill it again. So I think if we don't set a limit, there's still a chance that we'll kill it. So it's better if we just raise the limit to a high enough limit, for people to download stuff. But we can talk offline. I can send you the flags needed to raise the limit.
Yep.
Thank you, Jimmy. Any other kind updates? Lodestar?
Yeah, I can go for Lodestar. So basically, last week I was able to sync Lodestar to the DevNet 1 head when basically the APIs were working, and I was also able to stay synced with the head for some time. And this was basically using supernodes. And right now, yes, I have not baked in any validation / proof validation. Even though but I'm right now trying to do is basically change the sync mechanism so I can also sync so that Lodestar can also sync from known supernodes and through our various mechanisms that we have, range sync by root, and when we don't have the parent, so we do some unknown blocking against uses the root bus. There are some mechanisms that we have to pull the blocks and the data for it. So I'm sort of getting it working, and then Lodestar can basically take part in the DevNet itself. Once that is done, I believe Lodestar can also very well serve the data columns, because I mean, on the local testnet, I'm just using Lodestar combo to do all the debugging and to fix all the issues. So if basically this goes well, then I will also sort of integrate the validation and proof, so we can basically then participate in the DevNet. So.
Thank you. Any other kind of updates? Okay, then let's talk about the DevNet 1. I think Barnabas, could you give us an overview?
Yeah, sure. So last week when I disabled the rate limiting, that's when really the whole network just went haywire. And right now we are we have 6 different forks, so each client is sitting on its own fork. It's, let me send you the URL. So we have Prism on their own forks, Lighthouse on its own fork, and Deku is the only one that is able to agree with itself. But every other client just seems to fork away even from its own client implementation. So I think a relaunch is worth it. We can probably do that once we have a higher rate limit option from Lighthouse, and when Lodestar is ready to be onboarded. Maybe end of the week? Sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
Jimmy?
Lotsa should be ready by end of the week to join the DevNet.
Jimmy.
Yeah. I was just curious. Got a question for Prism. Because I think Prism's supernode also died around the same time when the Lighthouse supernode died. So I wonder if we know what happened there. Was it because if Lighthouse somehow DOS the Prism node, Prism would probably have some sort of rate limiting to prevent that from dying. So does anyone know why, like, what happened to the Prism supernodes? Because I think it would be great to have like at least 2 clients supernode working before we do a relaunch. Because I think having just on one supernode client is a bit risky.
No, we should have Deku and Prism supernodes enabled as well. So we had 6 supernodes, not just Lighthouse.
Yeah. I was wondering what happened when Lighthouse disabled rate limiting. Did the Lighthouse node kill all the other supernodes as well?
So I think for Prism, we have introduced a few changes over the last week to our rate limiting strategies. So I think when Lighthouse died, it kind of triggered a few bugs on our end. So I'm trying to track down the bugs right now so that we would effectively be able to serve, all the columns, all the nodes, rather than simply rate limiting everyone. Hopefully, by the end of the week, we have the fix in.
Kev?
Yeah, just trying to understand. So each client is on their own fork, and is it because of a different reason? Or is it that the rate limiter got removed and then they just started disconnecting from each other?
I think we had a few bugs. So one of the bugs is our rate limiting strategies. So we have these custom limiters for data columns, and I think the other bug Manu is trying to track down. Maybe he has more info on that.
Actually, the bug I'm tracking down right now is the bug about syncing when you start a new node, trying to connect to the existing network. So it's a different bug.
Oh, okay.
Right. But I guess did all of the forks start when the rate limiter was removed, or were they on their own forks beforehand?
It happened when the rate limiter was removed, yes.
Okay, I see. And okay, so this implies that if you have a network with just Lighthouse nodes or a network of just Prism nodes, then once the rate limiter is removed, then they will also fork away from each other. And it's just the Teku nodes that don't do that. Is that correct?
That's what it looks like currently, yes.
Okay, I see. Is there any way I can get more context on the rate limiter issue if it seems to affect every node?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what's the root cause of it. But I think when Lighthouse got restarted, one of the super nodes started sending out like huge number of sampling requests. And that kind of overwhelmed the other Lighthouse supernode. So that means both Lighthouse supernode like stopped serving other stuff. So I don't know if that's the reason why the rest of the network started having issues. So it basically lost the two Lighthouse supernode at the same time when it was turned off. I think it's not really a direct issue with the rate limiter. It was just a kind of review a bug in our sampling code.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I mean, at least, yeah, it can be sort of reproduced with just like Lighthouse or just Prism nodes, which means that it's probably easy to test locally and debug, I think, or at least easier than sort of testing across multiple nodes.
I think it might have also been because of the ENR change. There was like some ENR issues post the launch of the different clients, and then we rolled out an update to Lighthouse and with the fix. And I think that also had some issues.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to raise, I think maybe we have a spec discussion session after, like later, but kind of related. The ENI is not always available, so it means if other nodes connect to us, we don't know they're super nodes. So it's not a super reliable way to identify super nodes. So Lion's got a PR to consensus spec to add a metadata v3 query. Maybe we can talk about this later, but I think that would help maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure if we want to make this part of the DevNet2 spec. I think it might be useful.
So I wonder if we want to relaunch DevNet to us the same spec, or we have like more time to add more features to it or not. So Jimmy, you mentioned that having an extra request response API is nice to have, or it's like a must here.
I think it depends on how nodes are, like depends on how clients are identifying supernodes. I think Teku looks at peers that are subscribed to those subnets. I think that would still work. If we're purely looking at ENR, and if ENR is not available, we just fall back to the default, then that might not be enough, which is the previous behavior in Lighthouse. So if other clients are all just looking at subscribe peers on the subnets, then that's fine. I think we can live without having the metadata query for now.
Is it 3821?
Yep.
How much implementation would this add for client teams?
It wouldn't be too much, but it would be a bit of work. So if we do have it as a requirement for DevNet 2, I don't think we could launch it by end of the week.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. I think having a DevNet to test is probably still like a bit more useful. So maybe we can leave that to the next DevNet. If we can relaunch a new DevNet next week.
Okay, so let's aim for DevNet 2 relaunch with the same spec as the previous one, with all the client fixes in, hopefully, at the end of the week. And we should probably include Lodestar if they are ready as well.
Sounds good. Any other thing we want to discuss with the DevNet? If not, then we can start with the stake discussion. So we have 2 items on the agenda. The first one is that POP has a new proposal. Should link here.
Yeah. The proposal is to decouple the network subnets from the core protocol. Like for example, when we think of the attestation subnet, right? We have the committees. It's like for example, when you send the attestation, when you broadcast the attestation, you send it to the committee, right? You don't send it to you don't think that you send it to the subnet, right? You send it to the committee, and the community is just like an abstract group of people, and yeah, I want to do the same with PeerDAS as well, because I don't want when you send the columns, I don't want you to think that you send it to the subnet, but you send it to like a group of people. Yeah, so that we can design the underlying network like in the way in any way that we want. Does that make sense? So it's like when you clearly when you take a custody, right? You take a custody of the column in the subnet, but I just rename the subnet to something else, like to custody groups. It's like when you custody the column, you custody the custody group instead of a subnet. Yeah. Yeah, please take a look at the PR.
Thank you, Pop. So it's to make the PeerDAS part more general, more abstract.
Yeah, it's like make the network layer and the core protocol like decouple to each other.
So it looks nice, and I need more client things to help review it, to give feedback on it before we merge it, and it seems to be the target of DevNet 3 if possible. Yeah. Any feedback or suggestions on this PR?
Yeah, from my side, it's just what I wrote in the PR as well. Is that so conceptual decoupling is, I think, a good idea. My concern was that it seemed to me that the only reason we are actually grouping the columns, I'm just trying to use the right terminology here. So why we are grouping the columns is because of the presumed inefficiencies in the topic-based gossips of topic-based distribution. So we are decoupling it, but we are doing the whole thing just because of that. That's how I understand it now, but I have to look into it in more detail. And for me, even if we would do it just because of that, maybe decoupling makes sense. But yeah, I have to look more in detail.
Thank you. Any other suggestions, feedback? Okay, if not, then please comment on the PR itself. The next one we have, yeah, we would like to revisit the blob limit PR again. So I think from the previous calls, ACDs and PeerDAS breakouts that we seem to prefer the one that not handle gas-free computation in the CL side. So it's this PR, and well, it still has some other steps to do, like changing the engine APIs, and also needs EL client to support it. Yep. And any, suggestion, feedback on this PR, like how much we want to include it in Pectra?
Wouldn't this be a PeerDAS related EIP? Or would you want to include it in Pectra anyway, whether PeerDAS makes it in or not?
I mean, it would be good to have it in Pectra, because then, like, if we do PeerDAS, we don't need to fork the EL to increase the number of blobs.
Right, that's the logic of, being part of the Pectra is it would make PeerDAS updates cleaner.
It seems to me that this issue is not related to PeerDAS, right? It's just it's like more related to 4844.
Right, but just giving us a foundation of like increasing blob limit easier in the future.
Last week we didn't get any pushback from the so I feel like it could be pushed into Pectra even.
Yeah, like implementation wise, it'd be a lot easier for us if it's like with Pectra, because we've been doing some work on trying to implement the separate activation epoch after Electra, and it's just a lot cleaner that way.
Good. So I suppose the next step is having an EIP and changing the engine API interface. And that we might also push again in the call on Thursday to make sure the EL people are aligned with it. And another items that stokes that the message is, do we realistically see ourselves changing the block target to anything other than the max divided by 2? If we do, then we should also have the CL send target along with max values. Yeah, any thoughts on it?
I think it would be better to send both. That's going to give us a lot more flexibility down the line. Even if we just, even if we don't change anything in the foreseeable future, I think it's better to send both.
Thank you. And anyone else?
I'm not sure, but I think the idea of dividing it by 2 is from the EIP, like the idea is from the EIP 1559, right? I think the idea is adopted from that past EIP. Maybe like what is the reason for dividing it by 2, like in the EIP 1559? Maybe if anyone know the reason, maybe we can answer that question like easier.
There's no specific reason that it has to be by 2. It's just, yeah, it's just a parameter choice.
I mean, I think the idea is that it means it's robust to up to half of the proposers wanting, for example, to boycott 1559 by fixing the block size and therefore the gas and extract the parity fees instead. So basically, we lose some robustness to this attack if we increase it above 1/2.
Any other suggestions? If not, then we can start the open discussions. Anything we'd like to discuss today?
I have 2 things. The first one was regarding metrics. I spoke to Barnabas about this, I think last week or yesterday. Is there a time where clients are looking to sort of implement all of the necessary metrics in order to sort of get a good view on what the P2P network looks like? Maybe this is like too far in the future. I just wanted to get sort of a handle.
I think for us, we have a set of metrics for all topics that we apply for. So I think it's relevant to for PeerDAS too. Are there any specific metrics that you're particularly looking for?
I posted a Discord message. We created a list of the essential metrics that we probably see we would need.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I think we have most of this, well, a few of them, but maybe not all.
And I guess Lighthouse has most of them as well. Is that right, Jimmy?
Yes, I think we do have most of them, although like some of the names might not match exactly, but I think we have most of them. I think the challenge now is to actually gather the metrics, because we do actually need a good size network, like a lot of nodes. If you want to really get like useful metrics for bandwidth. Like for example, if a full node proposer want to see how much the proposing a block and blobs take, then we would need at least like enough number of mesh peers in each subnet as possible to get like some realistic metric that's going to potentially look like in practice. If we only have like one peer, which is a super node, then it's probably not going to be a realistic representation of what's going to happen in practice. So yeah, we kind of need a large network to get like real metrics, or just lots of super nodes.
Right, that makes sense. I guess for load star, we're still trying to sync, so the metrics aren't really a priority at the moment. Is that
Yep, correct.
cool?
I mean, metrics can become priority maybe next week, I think.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Can't see any other lines. Saulius. I don't know if you're on.
Yeah, hi guys, do you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we actually kind of doing experiment with PeerDAS development. So we have a bunch of fellow guys from fellowship, and essentially they are trying to deliver something. So we are a bit, I would say, out of sync of the whole thing, and likely will not participate in the next DevNet. So yeah, I cannot comment any further, likely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't think Teku's here, so maybe I can just ask offline. Yeah, I guess my second question was, Teku has merged our Rust sort of implementation for the cryptography. Is it possible to allocate some nodes that sort of switch that use the Clive flag to enable it, so we can see sort of a network with both implementations?
Yeah, could you please put a message about it in the testing, and then I can get to that.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
Kev, Lighthouse is potentially going to merge that PR soon as well. So we potentially going to switch to the Rust library as the main one, temporarily at least. So yeah, I think Lighthouse might be running that in the next DevNet.
Okay, cool. Maybe we can sync offline, because I would like to figure out how to collect metrics on the local DevNet. I think I was messing something up locally.
Have you tried to use kurtosis, by the way?
Yeah, I'm using kurtosis. The metrics that I was getting from the endpoints seemed a bit off. So I think maybe I was just doing something wrong.
any other topics to discuss today?
I've just got something just to mention. It may not be like 100% relevant, but Lion mentioned a an approach to decentralized block building, which is also mentioned in Dankrat's post. Lions wrote a HackMD page about it, and Michael and I have created a VR to the execution API spec. I think it's been approved. I'm not sure if it's merged yet. If anyone's interested, it's being implemented in Ref, but sort of it's on Michael's fork. So if anyone wants to experiment with it, if we have some bandwidth, we're likely going to experiment with it soon as well. But yeah, we've got the spec PR open on the execution API repo. Yeah, that's it.
I wanted to, yeah, can I get a minute here? Yeah, so I wanted, so I wanted to ask, what is the current situation in optimizations of DAS specific cryptography functions? So previously it seems that the most of the time was spent in MSMs, and is there a big change in this, or this is still the slowest part? Generally.
You're asking about the cryptography in particular?
Yes, I mean for the cryptography, the DAS specific cryptography.
Yeah, the main part would sort of always be in the MSMs, because the MSMs are group operations, whereas everything else is just like field operations, right?
Yeah, and it's still the same. I mean, there was now some new, like a very different algos introduced that reduces the usage of MSMs.
Not as, I mean, there is a technique to reduce the usage of MSMs by sort of amortizing. You sort of batch across different MSMs. So in Pippin, maybe this is something for offline, but essentially you can batch the inversions for group additions across different MSMs. That's the only technique that I know that we're not using at the moment. It's sort of a standard technique used in Pippinger nowadays. So you do addition in affine formula, and then you batch across the inversions that are needed.
Okay. So we just got merged the GPU CUDA optimizations for MSMs in REST-KZG, but unfortunately at the moment we don't have DAS specific functions ported to REST-KZG, and even so the result is that even for smaller MSMs it makes sense to use. I mean it is faster to use on to calculate on GPU. And I was just thinking, is there, I mean, was there some discussion on the potential on trying to use GPUs here, at least on some nodes, like a super nodes or so? And if yes, then we likely will, once we have a DAS specific functions, it will be very easy to hook up these CUDA MSMs.
So I guess my opinion on this is that currently it doesn't seem to be a bottleneck at the moment. So GPU is not currently needed. CUDA in particular is for NVIDIA GPUs. So I'm a bit more hesitant on adding those in, because then now the super nodes need to have an NVIDIA GPU, right? If it was like web GPU, I think that might be a bit more acceptable, since that works on every GPU. But yeah, yes.
Maybe I can ask differently. So for sure there is some vendor lock-in and so on, but let's say there are some nodes that runs on GPUs and are doing faster MSMs on compared to too high-end CPU. So is it going to be a good thing for the network?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess generally I'd say yes, because you'd be creating the proofs faster, right?
Yeah.
But instead of going to GPU, wouldn't it just make sense to just add more threads to it initially? I did some benchmarks, and for I think it was 8 or 16 threads, we go down to 100 milliseconds. And this is not parallelizing the FFT, like the FFT algorithm. This is just parallelizing the MSM part. Like in my opinion, I don't think it's currently a bottleneck, but maybe if it becomes a bottleneck, then I think maybe GPU should be considered.
Yeah, so my initial impression actually is that it is possible to kind of stack a lot of small MSMs like we have in Ethereum. The MSMs are quite small, and this is at least from my view, it seems it's significantly faster than even if you load a high-end CPU fully. But this is the initial observation from the results from the benchmarks we got. So anyway, so we'll keep working towards this direction, and once we have something working, I think we can just join a network and see is there any changes in metrics, or is there an effect of actually doing MSMs faster.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, if you have any preliminary numbers, it'd be good to know how much the GPU is sort of making proof recovery or computing proofs faster. So then we can sort of say, you can get a GPU, or you can get like 8 threads and you get sort of the same performance. So we can make sort of these comparisons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, and I just wanted to say if it plays in if we have larger pop counts, because the construction as we are doing it now on the full column, so on the full data, is getting more and more expensive as we have more and more blobs, which if you have the faster reconstruction, then we have nodes which can do faster reconstruction and feed those in. So feed those channels, basically feed those topics which are reconstructed, which were not propagating well. So having nodes in the network which do faster reconstruction is definitely helpful. With the current blob count, I think it's helpful, but it's not, it things work without. With more blobs, it can be timelines are extending.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that it is a sort of another requirement to say that you now need an NVIDIA GPU. So we should sort of weigh off the trade-offs between more threads and NVIDIA GPU.
Yeah, so I would change to 2D instead of scaling in that dimension, but because in the 2D case you would not need that actually. But again, whenever you have faster reconstruction, it's good for the network. So it's a benefit for the network. It's a benefit for energy consumption and for anything else. So yeah.
Any other topics for today? Okay, if not, then thank you for attending. Let's talk soon on Thursday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Top. Bye. Bye.
Yeah.